Hello and welcome to Beyond the Finish Line. You're talking to Matt and Georgia. Hi. How you going, Matt? I'm full of energy this afternoon, and that was an interesting intro. I don't know what I was doing with that.
Yeah, I was like, who are you talking to?
I forgot what I normally say. Hi
I was
guys,
like, who
how
are you
are you?
saying hi to? Because you weren't saying it to me.
Oh dear, that's a great
Oh,
start to the
our
episode.
first episode as a top 1% podcast started like that. Awesome.
That is the last time I introduce this podcast. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, guys. Welcome to the podcast. You're chatting with me, Georgia, all around awesome person, and Matt, coach, also awesome person.
I wasn't sure if you're going to add awesome person. Then I was like, if she's stitching me up here.
Oh dear. Yeah, welcome to episode 11. We got lots to talk about today. But first, I think, Matt, you said you wanted to quickly touch on last week's episode.
Yeah, ironically, less than 24 hours after recording the injury prevention episode, I got injured. So, um, I was thinking about it, and there was probably something we left out in that episode, and it's hard to quantify, but it is well documented, and it is definitely it's definitely a thing, and it's external stresses and how they affect the body. So
Yep.
whether it's a work stress, it is a relationship stress, things that you wouldn't necessarily think impact muscles, fitness, things like that. They actually, when everything is so stressed and so tight and everything is just built up, something's going to snap.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's definitely
so
something I would never have thought about. So this is a really
mm,
interesting conversation for myself as well, because when you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, it's definitely not something that would have popped into my mind. So what,
yeah, it's I try not to talk about it because you can't quantify it. Like you can't quantify stress. It's just I am stressed, but like how
yeah,
stressed are you? And it's
yeah,
like how long have you been dealing with stress? Like it's really hard for me as a coach to be like, oh, you've been at a level 10 stress for 3 weeks. Let's deload to
yeah,
protect your legs. Like it's just hard to quantify, so it's hard to talk about. But it's always interesting, and the more experienced you get as a athlete, you're able to look back on injuries and go, oh, obviously, like no shit, like of course that happened.
yeah.
And when I look back at the sort of 96 hours prior to my calf, thankfully it was only a grade 2 strain, but um, when I look back at that time period, I'm like, oh, no shit.
Yeah, I think also you're the only person who can really, as you said, quantify your stress. So
Mm.
I guess as a coach, you would have to you're checking in with your clients, but you're also hoping that they're telling you everything, right? You want to know that they're
Yeah,
stressed so you can help them. What
and
I guess,
it's also just like different people, different stress levels. Like we've referenced Mel and Taylor before on the podcast. Shout out Mel and Taylor. Both highly successful lawyers who are just go, 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 go. Their stress level, like their everyday stress level, like something they probably wouldn't even consider stressful, is probably a 10 for the majority of people.
yeah, yeah,
So they tell me, oh, yeah, not stressed, everything's fine. And then something happens. And I'm like, well, you guys just quantify stress differently. So,
mm,
it's very, very hard to, as a coach, to be able to use that as a metric.
yeah, it would be. And everyone's stress is, as you said, it's all very personal. Look, something that's stressful for me, again, as you said, is not stressful for someone else. But for me, if something is really stressing me out, that is the most stressful thing that's ever happened to me. So that's what's
Yeah.
important is that, something to someone else might be the most stressful thing to them. And it's like, okay, that's your thing. But for me, I'm really stressed right now. So again, that's the only thing is that you can you've got to really take a step back and say, okay, how am I doing? How's my stress levels? How's my week going? And then that's when you would say, tell your coach, or if you don't have a coach, that would be something that you need to go, okay, do I need to take a step back and take a few days off?
Yeah. And again, it gets even more complicated because then you need to evaluate, is it the level of stress does that level of stress warrant taking time off, or does that level of stress warrant deloading or
Yeah.
reducing volume? Because a lot of the time, like in marathon prep, like you're very stressed and very tired, but if you don't push through that, you're not going to get better. So
Yeah.
like it is just I don't want to give any advice around it, because like it is impossible to give to be able, like I said, be able to quantify it, be able to give even just a generic blanket bit of advice. But it's definitely, I would just recommend people just to keep it in the back of your mind, like, oh, a rough couple of weeks at work or relationship issue or whatever it is. But if you know it's eating away inside of you and it's been going along for an extended period of time, maybe just reduce some of the other stresses till you get that sorted.
Yeah. I think, yeah, you're definitely right. I was going to say, how does someone, if they are feeling with stress, at what point do they go, okay, this is not me pushing through now. This is me just going back and having a day, maybe a day off. Like, I think even a day is just like helpful when you're in the depth of training something really big like you are at the moment. So
Yeah.
you said you were obviously stress was a big factor for you for your injury. Did you only realize that after you were injured, or do you think you kind of knew you were a bit stressed at the time but pushed through?
I knew I was stressed, but like it was just like, I wouldn't say it was super like I wasn't pulling my hair out sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
just like I was like, okay, like this is just 3 or 4 big problems that have all come up at once that I need to solve. And for me, like training is actually a de-stressor. And I'm sure for a lot of
Mm.
people it's a de-stressor. So I'm like, cool. I literally was like, it was race week. So I just raced 70.3 Geelong. And all I had was an hour easy bike into like a 20-minute easy run, like all zone 2, no intensity, everything super, super cruisy. Got through the bike, felt fine, and then just was jogging along. I got a kilometer into the run and just twang. So in my mind, I was like, at the time, I was like, cool, I'm just going to think while I'm on the run, going to de-stress. I'll come back and at least I'll have some clarity of what I'm going to do. And just, didn't happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, okay, like there was some warning signs. Like Sunday, I was a little bit sore, and I hadn't slept particularly well the nights leading up before, because I was trying to solve these problems that are playing on your mind. So like, hindsight is always 2020. You can just go back and you can just tick the boxes. Like, oh, you felt sore there in the same
Yeah.
calf. Interesting. Oh, you didn't sleep well 3 nights in a row. Interesting. Like
Yeah. It's
it's
kind of,
so obvious when you look back at it.
yeah, it's kind of like when you get really sick, right? If you're super run down and your body's like, okay, you need to rest now. I'm gonna give you the flu. And then you're just like
Yeah, yeah.
completely out. It was like straight after the wedding, Nick and I, within a week, both had the flu, horrendous, in
Isn't
bed all
that
week.
so? It's so interesting how the body almost senses the finish line. Like the wedding is the finish line, the
Yeah.
Ironman is the finish line, the marathon, whatever it is. Like Sam, my partner, high school teacher, almost religiously, first week of school holidays gets crook. Like
Yeah.
just, it's like the body goes, I need to get to this date, and after that, I'm done.
It's holding on for dear life until the end of
Legit, yeah,
term.
legit.
Oh gosh. Okay, good. That's a good one. I think it's important to put that into the pod for those who listened last week. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode, firstly, what are you doing? Secondly, jump back and listen to last week's ep, and then that will make a little bit of sense as well.
Yeah, more context.
Yeah, more context. But I guess you've just touched on your week. What I know we always do this now. So what were your highs and lows? I know you have just mentioned them, but you can give it to us again if you like. How was how was
Yes.
yeah, how was the race? Because you did still go down.
Yep, still went down. I had 2 athletes racing as well. So shout
Cool.
out to Toby. He was 30 seconds off a top 10 finish in his age group,
Wow.
which was super impressive. And considering he actually made some mistakes with his nutrition, so he probably deserved a top 10 finish, but that's the game that you play.
Yep.
And then Dave finished his first 70.3, so shout out Dave. That was really cool to be there for that.
Oh.
Um, yeah, and for me, it was interesting because I had to I had to take the advice that I would never normally take. So obviously my big goal is uh, sub 10 hour Ironman at Ironman Australia, and that's 40 odd days away.
Yeah.
Um, I have a grade 2 strain on my calf, which means I'm basically non-weight bearing on my calf. It's been in compression all week. Absolutely no running. Like I'm limping to walk. So like no chance of running a half marathon after a swim bike.
No.
So um, I had to swallow the ego, and I did a swim. I did the swim, did the bike, and then did not finish the race. Like handed in my timing chip, I was unable to complete the race. Where
Yeah.
if that was say 3 months ago, I would have just walked the marathon or hobbled it. I am absolutely finishing it. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. I do not care about the long term damage. Like I just would have, I would have had the athlete mindset and just pushed through. Where there's a time and a place for that.
Yeah.
But there's also a time and a place to check your ego and think about the long term goals and long term plans. So I wasn't willing to do anything to jeopardize Port Macquarie and the sub 10 hour attempt, and I stuck to the plan and did everything I had to, and it was extremely difficult, but I'm happy I did.
I think that's growing as an athlete, though.
For sure.
That's maturing, where you go, you know what, this is not good for me long term. I need to chill for a bit. So
Yeah. But essentially, I'd have no problem giving that advice to you, for example. Like if you're like, yep,
yeah,
I'm gonna do this event, and I'm like, cool, well, this is where you're at. Like this is realistically what you should do. Like, I don't know, for London, like it probably makes more sense for you to drop down to the half marathon. Like if we were looking at it big picture.
they don't have one. That doesn't exist.
Oh. But
Yes, of course,
yeah,
But it's yeah, I get it. We had this conversation. Was that yesterday?
yeah,
Yeah, that whole athlete mindset and deciding what's more important, and for me, finishing is important, but for you, being safe and looking after your body is more important because you want to get to your full Ironman to do your sub 10. So
yeah, and yeah, it was just interesting. Like uh, having to. I've never been put in that situation. I've had athletes who have dealt with injury, maybe weren't 100% confident mentally going into events and things, and we've had to like change things, and like I've tried to encourage them to like, hey, don't worry about ego, don't worry about performance, like just like your goal is just to go out there and run it and enjoy it and finish the event. And I've never had to take that advice. I've always just been head down, 100 miles an hour. I've knock on wood, this is the only event I've ever been injured going into.
yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience, but I'm glad I went through it.
Yeah, and look, I can tell it's really got you down. Just before we jumped on mic, I kind of said to Matt, I was like, "Are you doing okay?" Because I could tell your body language, like just everything, and it sucks. It really does. You've worked so hard, and then to get 43 days or whatever it is away from a sub 10, and then you're dealing with this. So at the moment, kind of what's going through your head? What are you chatting to your coach about? How are you guys dealing with this injury?
Yeah, so as of the recording of this, I've been zero running for 7 days. I didn't train all of last week. My only session was the half Ironman minus the
Hmm.
run. Went and saw physio again today, got shockwave therapy, did all the things. Um, unfortunately, no noticeable improvement, which were his words.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, when's this podcast going to come out? 2 weeks. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Like,
Um,
1 week from now, next Wednesday.
oh, next Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Hopefully,
I'll still say it.
hopefully by then that gives you a week. Like that's a week until the next one.
Well, I'm seeing. I saw him today. No noticeable improvement. He said another week of no running, and
Yeah.
these are like, just for context, guys. These are like the peak weeks of training. This is where like we should be 70, 80, 90 Ks of running per week, 300 plus kilometers on the bike, 10, 15, 20 kilometers in the pool. And I can do the bike and the swim. Obviously, can't do the run. So no running for another week. He said we'll do another round of shockwave therapy and stuff next Tuesday, and then start to introduce running on Wednesday. Now
Yep.
I'm supposed to be doing a training camp in Port Macquarie where I'm taking, I think I've got 5 or 6 athletes racing, 7 athletes racing, whatever it is. We're all going up, going to ride the course, swim the course, like do a whole thing.
Yep.
Um, I've pretty much drawn a line in the sand that if I'm not full clip by then, I'm going to have to defer and pick a different race. So still got 10 days, but with every day that passes, the odds of me having to defer the event are getting higher and higher.
It's so upsetting. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it
Yeah.
just is what it is, mate. Like
Yeah.
I'm not upset about having to defer or anything. I'm upset about the uncertainty.
I know. Look, I know exactly how you feel. I mean, it's probably not as mine's not as drastic as yours.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you and I, it's weird. Like you and I are both going through the same thing. We both have a race pretty much 10 days apart from each other. And
Hmm.
I'm dealing with all the same emotions of just not knowing, not, is it going to get better? Am I going to be able to actually even run?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel for you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's like I'm weirdly okay about the injury because I know, and I'm not upset about deferring because I know have ticked every box. Like I don't know if that probably doesn't make sense to people, but I just want to know when I'm racing and when I
Yeah,
need to be ready. Like
yeah.
that's it. Like I'm not worried about when that date is. I just want to know what date that is. So
Would the next one be
that's kind of,
Cairns? Is that Cairns?
yeah. So it'd be another 6 weeks post Port Macquarie.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's not so bad. Six
It's
weeks.
not
That's
like,
6 weeks of solid extra training you get in.
yeah, like Cairns would be the perfect scenario if I don't get into Cairns. Um, it'd be Bustleton, which is not till December, unless I
Oh,
want to
okay.
race internationally, which I don't particularly want to do. But
I mean, Cairns would be
uh,
a redemption because it was Cairns last year, wasn't it? Or
Cairns 2 years ago, I got a
two.
DNF when I raced sick, and then
Yes.
last year, yeah, I didn't have a good race at Cairns. So like
Yeah.
there would be a an element of full circle, but um, yeah, we'll just wait and see.
Wait and see. Very good. Matt's
I
just
was
looking at me.
I was just going to see how long Georgia could. Georgia hates dead air on
I
podcasts.
can't
It
cope.
drives her up the wall. So I was just going to wait and see how long she could cop it.
Guys, I'm going bright red. I cannot cope with dead air. And I'm constantly saying, I'm like, Matt, is he gonna, I'm like sitting up in my chair, like, is he gonna ask how my week was? Like, what is this?
How was your week, Georgia?
Oh my God, thank you for asking. Wow, so
Oh.
kind of you. Had a pretty good week. I've been in the pool a
Mhm.
lot this week, which has been
I
fun.
know.
I love
Iron
it.
Man loading.
I know everyone keeps commenting on my Strava, like, next minute you're gonna get a bike. And I'm like, no. But yeah, really enjoying the pool, really enjoying that. Now just trying to work out where I can fit it in during the week to just get at least a swim in because I don't know, mentally so good. Love that. Can see why people enjoy doing laps. So yeah, that was really good. Highlight of my week was getting my cortisone injection yesterday. I'm so happy about that. Went and had an ultrasound first, and she confirmed it was bursitis, but because I've had 2 weeks off from training, it is reduced a bit, which is really good, which means that the cortisone injection is going to hopefully work better because it's not as inflamed, which is really
Yep.
hopeful. So I feel really good about that. I'm feeling really positive. Yeah, I feel really good. You and I had a really great chat the other day just about, I was kind of mentioning to you that I still wanted to run a certain pace, just at least so I was, giving it a good crack as much as I could. But you were kind of like, oh, you've got a bit of an athlete mindset, like let's just get through the race so you're not injured and you can enjoy the rest of your honeymoon. So yeah. No real negative, to be honest. Besides just feeling a little bit crap about the injury, but other than that, I feel good. I'm positive. I'm actually getting excited for London now. It's probably, I think we leave in about 3.5 weeks. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
getting close.
I know. Got all my things, doing my wardrobe, thinking about what I'm going to wear on marathon day, all those things. The things that us gals think about.
I put such little effort into any of that. I'm just like, shoes, yep, well, shorts, okay, sweet.
Yeah. Actually, a really big highlight for me was on Sunday. We had my friend Julie and
Oh,
I
you had your run
hosted.
club thing.
Yeah, we hosted Sunday Social, which was awesome. It's our quarterly event that we do. It's all about, I know I spoke about this before, but it's all about kind of promoting beginner runners to do their first run club, come and basically do your first one with us, and then you feel more confident to go to another one, maybe with a different run club, or come back and see us again. Yeah, it absolutely bucketed. The whole morning was absolutely pouring rain, and I was like, no one's going to turn up to this thing. We had 300 people signed up, so the anxiety was real in the car. But no, it's really good. Team from ASICS came. They brought the van down. They had, I think they said they did about 105 wear tests, which was really cool.
Cool.
People got to try out the Nova Blast, Super Blast, Nimbus. They also had a couple of race day shoes there, the Metaspeeds. So that was awesome. Really generous of them to come down on a Sunday. So grateful. Um, we had the team from Hyro come down, which is really cool. The founders of Hyro actually came, which I think is awesome. They're a small business, but they're doing big things. So that was really cool. And they brought all the hydration down for everyone. Super tasty. And we also had an optical store in Five Dock called Thea. They brought down some Oakleys for everyone to try on, which was really cool. Everyone got to
That's
try some.
interesting.
Yeah. And so they brought down probably 30 or 40 different pairs of Oakleys. They had 20% off. You could buy them there if you wanted to. And then they gave away 2 pairs as well, which was awesome. So
Cool.
yeah, vibes were high. Everyone was in such a good mood considering we had 150 people still turn up in the rain, which is, I still can't believe that considering how wet it was. Like it was pouring rain.
Yeah, that's wild. I wouldn't have
Wild.
gone.
Yeah. So considering like most people are like beginner runners, I think people who run in the rain generally are training for something or they're pretty serious about it. Whereas
Oh, they're just miserable human beings.
I love running in the rain.
Do you?
Do you know what? I don't like starting off in the rain. Like that's really hard.
Oh, yeah, no.
If
If
you're,
it rains midway, you're all right.
that is the best. I love that.
Yeah,
So much
I
fun.
can get behind that.
I once ran in this torrential downpour. Like it was a couple of mil deep the entire run, and oh, so much fun. Loved that. But yeah, that was so much fun. Met lots of amazing people. Talked about the podcast. Talked about my injury a lot. So yeah, but that's kind of it. That's kind of my week.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
but
guys, I promise we are going to do the Beyond the Finish Line Run Club. It's just when Georgia comes back from honeymoon and I am not doing Ironman prep, but we are going to do it.
yeah, look, we want
I
to be
had
able to
someone
run with
message
you,
me about
Matt.
it the other week. Yeah,
Currently, you can't run, so
that's
would be a
true.
bit null and void before I go away to do one.
I
But
could be like one of those old school coaches who ride the bike behind the people and just yell at them.
exactly. No, let's wait till you can run. I think we'll probably end up doing it end of May, guys, because I'll be back by then, and then that
Yeah.
way,
Whenever George is back, we'll work it out.
yeah. Well, I promise you, we will do it. We're both really excited about it. It's just very hard when we both live in two separate places to try and figure out a time. So yeah. But on the kind of the back of this conversation we've just both had about our weeks, I really wanted to talk today about kind of managing training for something, managing work, life, friendships, all those sorts of things when you're training. A bit of a training life balance kind of episode, how to, stick to your plan, know when you're stressed, when to drop back a bit, when to just go, actually, I do need some time with my friends, or I should go to run club and things like that. So yeah, I think it's something people would most likely deal with a lot when they're training for something. What is your experience in this?
I think this is going to be really interesting because I think we're going to be polar opposites.
Definitely. Do you want to tell everyone kind of what your week looks like? How do you balance your training?
So every Sunday, I
Mm-hmm.
put everything in my calendar for the following week, including like travel times, everything, like, everything down to the minute. I'm just like very
Are we talking like a
regiment.
Google Calendar?
Yep.
Wow, so you like pop them in as proper.
My
Well,
training is like, yeah, so no one can book out my training time. Like my training is my training. Like,
yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Oh, so as in
yeah.
you're talking about athletes can't book out your training time.
Anyone, like if I want to do it, like I've got my other podcast, so no one can like book a slot. Like if I've got to be training, like yeah,
Okay.
like that time is just unavailable.
Oh man, we are so different. Okay, yep. So
um,
you do that on a Sunday. Tell me more.
yep. Um, so everyone who follows me on Instagram knows I do like the 100-day countdown for my events.
Yep.
Uh, so pretty much the week or so before that, anyone who I normally hang out with, so a few of the boys or even like Sam, I'll be like, cool, the next 100 days, like I am locked in. Don't don't ask me to do anything. Because like if you need something, now is the time to ask. Now is the time like I need to hear from you. If there is an event during that time, you need to tell me
Oh,
as
okay.
early as possible. It needs to go into the calendar. I'm not even going to promise I can make it, but
I am
that's
shook.
it.
I am
I
shook.
am. Yep. I'm like,
Sam, where are you?
don't
Blink
don't
twice if you need help.
don't message me after 7 o'clock at night.
No, I know
Don't
that
message.
one.
Yep. My phone goes off at 7. I'm in bed at 8, asleep by 8:30, up at
Wow.
4. Um, don't ask me to go out and drink. Don't ask me to go out and eat. Don't ask me anything.
Wow. But that's only once a year though, right? You're not doing a 100
No,
day.
that's multiple times a year. That's it for every Ironman. It's like the 100 days leading into that. I'm
So Matt has no life.
My life is coach you guys
I
and
know.
race.
And race. Wow, that's so interesting. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong by all means. I didn't realize
No,
you did that.
everyone's different. Yeah,
Yeah, for
everyone's different.
sure. I have actually wondered this for a while now, how you manage like do you have like a set with your coaching? Do you set hours in the day to do work on coaching and programs and stuff? How does that look?
Yep. So I do. Anyone who's read like Cal Newport's book Deep Work would be like aware of like there's like different people have their brains work in different ways. So like
Yeah.
some people, the first couple of hours first thing in the morning when it's quiet, they can just focus. They can knock out a lot of work. Some people it's late at night. Like a lot of authors are quite late at night.
Mhm.
It's normally when the rest of the world is not awake. So they've
Bothering
gone to
you.
bed or haven't woken up yet. So for me, I get up normally about 3:45, 3:50, and I'm at my desk by 4 a.m.
Wow.
I work 4 a.m. to sort of 6:30. Uh, take the dogs, I eat breakfast, take the dogs for a walk, and then I'm training between 7:30 and 8. Train till about 10, eat, then do another lot of work, say 10 or say 11 till 1, 1:30. Afternoon trainings 2 till 4, take the dogs for another walk, and then I'll do either the podcast with you, like emails, like just normally
Admin.
admin sort of stuff until sort of 5 or 6, and then Sam gets home at like sort of 6:30. So I make dinner and yeah, in bed
Wow.
by phones off at 7. We might watch something, normally not. I'll normally play chess on my phone on my spare phone, and then asleep by yeah, like I said, sleep by 8:30.
Incredible. That is the most amazing schedule I've ever heard of. So
That's 7 days a week.
yeah, that's strict and that's good. I mean, that's why you're good at what you do. This is why you're a great coach and why you're great at what you do. I'm totally opposite to you. I'm a little
I,
bit.
I knew it. I knew we would be opposite. As soon as you were
Oh
like, "Oh, I
man.
gotta have time with my friends," I was like, "Nope."
Um, cool. So
My mate, this is how this. You guys will like this. My mate Blake, shout out Blake. You definitely don't listen to this podcast. He's not a runner by any means, but he actually changed his Bucks party because he knew he couldn't book it during this 100 days, so he changed it for like 2 weeks after.
are you a groomsman? Like why does he care so?
Yeah, I'm a groomsman.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's fair.
but
Okay, that
also
makes sense.
I was like, don't, and he's like, I'll just do it because like otherwise you're not going to come. I was like, you're right,
Yeah.
I'm not going to come. Yeah.
Yeah, or you'd be miserable, like concentrating on
I
other
know.
stuff.
I no. I wouldn't go.
Wow.
It's not a negotiation. Like, it's if you put it in that 100 days, that's your fault.
Yeah, and that's that real. I mean, you're an athlete, so I get it. It's you have to. I'm just completely different
But
to
I'm
you.
fully transparent with everyone. This isn't just like me being a prick. Like the two
No.
weeks before, I tell them like, "Hey, this is the schedule. This is what it is." And like to be fair, most of them know months before. They know I'm racing Port Macquarie. It's just that 2 weeks before, I just hammer it home like I am not available. Like if you need something, long lead times. Like if you want to go out for dinner, it's like you got to ask me like a month in advance.
Oh yeah, that's
And
not so
even
bad.
even then I'm like probably not going to happen. Or we've got to eat at like 5:30 because I need to be home asleep and get my sleep.
Oh my gosh, wow. So do you and Sam get to go out on any date nights at least? No,
Yeah, but Sam's like me. Sam's
she's
like a
busy
fucking
too.
koala. She's like a fucking koala, mate. She sleeps like a 43 hours. Um, so she doesn't mind going to bed early and all
She
that
also
stuff.
lifts at the
So
gym and stuff. Like she has her own
yeah,
schedule and
Sam's an
practices
Olympic
each night.
weightlifter. So yeah, she's a savage with her training too. So
Oh my gosh, what Olympics has she been in?
no, Olympic weightlifting,
What does that
not
mean?
like clean and jerk, snatch.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh my God, I've
No,
got no
she's
idea.
she's
I
not
was
an
like,
Olympian. No,
sorry. I was like, that's so cool. Both are really
no,
cool, but I just didn't know what that meant.
no.
I'm sure there's some
Um,
other people out there that thought the same. I can't be
For
the
sure,
only one.
yeah. No, well, they call it Olympic weightlifting because they're the two lifts that you do in the Olympics.
Okay, I get you. Yes, clean and
So
jerk stuff
clean
in
and
the stuff.
jerk and a snatch, yeah.
Yes, I know a girl who does that as well. I mean, so strong, so inspiring. Yeah, look, your week is pretty crazy. Your 100-day kind of ban on doing things, which is fair because you're locked and loaded. My weeks are entirely different on the complete opposite end, and that's also okay.
But
Um,
yeah, I think it's good that we're on the opposite ends because it shows that different things work for different people.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, your way of training will relate to lots of people, and my way will probably relate to a lot of people as well.
Yeah,
We
for
both
sure.
we both do totally different things, so that's why this podcast is so awesome because yeah, we're both on the polar opposite ends. So yeah, look, I don't plan my week out much in advance. My friends will kind of say, "You want to catch up?" Usually Sunday afternoons or Sunday lunches and stuff. That's my day for friends or family or I don't really do stuff during the week on a weeknight unless it's like tomorrow I'm going to trivia with my brother because I want to see my brother and his wife. So you just do it. But yeah, I work 6 days a week in the city. So I'm in the city 6 days, which I love. Love my job. Do we? My job's very. We do lots of different things all the time. So it's not like I'm sitting at a desk all day every day. I do 10 to 15,000 steps a day at work, walking around the city doing things. I work for a jeweler, so I'm constantly talking to clientele all day. I do a lot of talking. So generally, when I finish work, I go home and I don't talk much. But all of my training is done in the mornings. I never train at night. That is not for me. I get up 6 o'clock, train, get ready for work, go to work, come home, and Nick and I will just kind of eat dinner, watch TV, go to bed. Pretty boring. But yeah, Saturdays I work, and then yeah, Sundays is my day for family and friends. But if there's an event on, I just work around it, you know. I don't drink anymore or much. We'll probably drink on our honeymoon a little bit, but I used to drink, but I don't really drink anymore, which I'm
Yeah, I'm the
enjoying.
same. Very rare.
Yeah, very, very rare. Like even at my own wedding, I think I had a couple of cocktails and then a glass of champagne for toasting and stuff and our speeches. My hens, I didn't even really have a big weekend. I just get really anxious drinking. It makes me feel anxious thinking about feeling sick or any of that. I think the biggest night of drinking I've had in my whole life was the night Nick was on his bucks because I was just so stressed.
He
My
was a
sis
sick boy.
Yeah, my sister-in-law took me to karaoke with my couple of my bridesmaids, and we just got a bit crazy with the cocktails. So yeah, nah, Nick's bucks wasn't that crazy. It's fine. But yeah, that's kind of
Or was
it.
it his footy presentation that he When was it when I saw him and he was just like he had to stop running and he just went and sat in the car.
He had a footy night. That was funny.
Footy
That was our
night, right?
last run club. Poor,
Yeah, yeah.
poor Nick, poor Matt. That was pretty funny. He had to stop and just go, I'm
I
tapping
was
out here.
fine. What are you talking about?
Because Nick had to pull out of our run. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, other than that, that's kind of it. I look at as I've said before on the podcast, I look at what you've programmed for me either the night before, or I'll have a rough look on a Sunday to see what's in the week ahead. And then I'll kind of forget what it was. And then the night before, I'm like, oh, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? I just I just know like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday are my running days, Sunday being long run always. And then Tuesday, Thursdays I'm at the gym. So yeah, I'm going to try and fit in some swimming, but other than that, I mean, I do it for fun. I'm not an athlete. Doing I'm not, I don't know. And then yeah, somewhere in between that I do all of my content as well and
Yeah, the
paid.
content's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's another. It depends on what's on the schedule for if I've got paid partnerships coming up. I schedule those into my calendar. The other day I had to film a paid partnership, so that is going live tomorrow. So I just have to. It's mostly in my head or in my personal calendar. I just jot it in when things are due and work around it, get it done, fit it in around my training. I mean, the best thing with my own personal Instagram is that I can fit my paid partnerships in with training because a lot of the time brands want me
Yeah, it's
just
just yeah,
doing my
running.
normal thing. Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, just go and run and chat. I'm like, great, love it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but what kind of advice would you give to people I know your training is quite rigid in what you do. What's your advice on people to try and create? Do you believe in that whole kind of training life balance or?
Of course. Yeah. Like I said, and this like I follow my calendar all year round. Like that's just like how I schedule everything.
Yeah.
That's just my particular thing. Like I don't do to-do lists. I like if I've got to make a bit of content, I'll schedule like an hour into the calendar to
Yeah.
make content, whatever it is. Our podcast is on the calendar. Um, George is laughing because we never really set a time. She's like, "Will
No,
5 o'clock work today?"
I know it must kill you.
No, I'm all right. I just
We were
schedule
on
out
a,
the whole afternoon.
yeah, I like Monday afternoons I have off from work, so I'm like, let's do the podcast then. But some days, I mean, I'm going to get an injection or I've got some weird
Or
appointment.
Matt's stuck in Melbourne.
Or yes, Matt, that was Matt. We're actually recording on a Tuesday today, which is very abnormal for us.
Yeah,
Poor Matt's usually asleep by now.
getting close, getting close.
I know,
Actually,
we're
I'm
losing
playing
him, we're
chess.
losing him. Or playing chess, exactly. So yeah, is there any kind of tips you have? You use your calendar. Any tips for
Um,
people?
a, a big one for me is just like scheduling the time for training. Like if when I used to before I started doing the whole calendar thing, I would just write everything down on like a to-do list and
Mm-hmm.
then like that's what I had to get done for the day. And sometimes, especially for me, I've got ADHD, so I hyperfixate on things. So like sometimes I can't walk away from a task until it's done. So
Okay.
like if I'm doing programming for the performance project, for example, I might say I'm going to do all the runners and then I'll go train and I'll come back and then I'll do the triathletes, for example. But sometimes I just get locked in and I'm like, I end up doing everyone and 6 hours has gone past and I'm like, I've got to fit 2 sessions in and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Um, so just being disciplined with my time and scheduling that's been a big change for me. Um, the other big one is consistent sleep and wake up times. Like I
Yeah.
find that just puts me in such a good rhythm to like keep momentum building. And it's really tough when you first start. Like if you're like, okay, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I need to get my run in before I go to work or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple of weeks, it sucks, and your body's trying to work out what's going on, and you're probably staying up a little bit too late, getting up a little bit too early. So you've got to learn to make sacrifices. The other part of all of that, yes, my schedule is super fucking hectic, but it's only hectic for looking from the outside in. Like that's been
No, that's
refined
yeah. That's
over multiple preps. So like now it's just normal for me. It's
Yeah.
not,
And
yeah.
that's what
So
works for you. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
that works for you, and that's all that matters. You're the one doing it. You're the one going out and
Yeah,
training. So I love it. I think it's really interesting. I like that
yeah,
you
and
do all that. I think my hard thing with calendars is that I have my work, my personal, and my shared calendar all in one
mm,
calendar. So if I
yeah,
block
I do
that
that
out,
too.
yeah, it'd be it's too many colors for me. I'd be like, that's too much happening.
Yeah, I've got to color code everything. Like
Oh
training's always
yeah,
red. Yeah, podcasts, all content is yellow. Yeah,
yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. See, I'm such a. I'll be sitting on the couch. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got a little bit of time while dinner's cooking. I'm gonna quickly do some editing of podcasts or editing of my own personal stuff, or I'll be on the bus going into the city. That's 20 minutes, so that's good 20 minutes. I can get some editing in. That's always a question people ask me is how do you fit that kind of content side of things in? And you just make it work.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
a lot of it is that. Yeah, a lot of
yeah,
it's just like I said, spare 20 minutes, tea's cooking, quickly reply to messages or email or whatever it is. But yeah,
yeah,
it doesn't always fit perfectly in the calendar. Sometimes you've just got to improvise. But yeah, I use it as just a rough structure.
yeah. And, you just adjust it as you go. If you have to adjust it, you adjust
Yeah,
it. For me, like if
that's an interesting one. Just sorry, just on the
yeah,
adjustment is
no,
like I used to set out the whole week and it was airtight, like no gaps for anything. And then if one domino fell, the whole week was ruined.
yeah, yeah,
Now this has taken a long time. I still sometimes struggle with it, but like being able to move and change things around and like being okay, like cool, Monday didn't go perfectly. You missed your swim session in the afternoon because you got stuck on calls. Where can you move it? Cool, let's move it to Wednesday. Move that session over here, and like just being a little bit more flexible. So
yeah,
I find there's a really anyone who's if what I just said with my super ridiculous schedule interests people and they're like, oh, that actually resonates with me. Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willink. Great book. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. Super interesting dude. But the basic concept of the book is the more disciplined you are within a structure, the more freedom you have. So you can move things around. You can, if you get all your, really simple concept, get all your work done first thing in the morning, have the rest of the day to go do what you want kind
yeah,
of thing. So
yeah.
rather than, going and hanging out in the morning, fucking around, and then, oh shit, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I've got to get all this work done. So
Yeah. And
it's a really interesting book.
that would probably apply more to people though that would maybe work from home or have a bit more of a flexible working schedule where they've just got tasks to tick off, right?
Uh, no, I think it's. I mean, I'm probably the
Because
extreme because yes, like I do everything from home,
yeah,
but I
because like I
think
couldn't do that. Like that would not even work for me at all. My whole day, if I'm at work, I'm blocked out. I'm working the entire day. I'm not
yeah,
stopping. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there's a whole bunch of different concepts in the book that you can like
Apply.
maybe like yeah like maybe this particular chapter is more relevant to you and your work, and then the other six are not, for example. But I think the concept as a whole is
Mm.
even just the like he's super. Anyone who follows him on Instagram on it, but like he gets up at 4:30 every morning. Every morning posts a photo of his watch, like, and he's done it for I don't know how many years. Never misses a day.
Okay.
Yeah, but like that's his whole thing is like just
Yeah.
structure, routine. The more structured and routine you are, the more options you have.
That's cool. I like that. I like the whole getting up and doing the same thing. I do believe in getting up at the same time every day, regardless, like, unless I'm really unwell and I need to sleep in. But for example, I'm still not running because I'm waiting for this cortisone to kick in. But I'll still go to run club tomorrow. I'll wake up, I'll be there at 6. I'll watch the guys go for their run. I'll just chill, have a coffee. But that's also like a way for me to get my social interaction with people that aren't
For
just
sure.
clients. And so I find making sure I don't, that's kind of a non-negotiable for me now. Is it wasn't last year, and I really burnt out during my training sessions and during that Sydney Marathon, Gold Coast Marathon block. I wasn't scheduling enough time with my friends, and I was only getting interactions with people, either my husband or through work. And you got to make time for your friends. And so I think making sure I'm still going to run club every week. And that was something I had to tell you, was to be like, Wednesdays, I have to do run club. I can't not do run club. I need to work it in somehow into my schedule. If that means I have to run on a Saturday, I'll run on a Saturday. But I really enjoy going to run club and seeing my running friends and chatting shit and getting that little endorphin hit. And then, yeah. So I think my one tip is kind of finding out what your non-negotiable is with your training. And if that's spending every Sunday with your family, having a family dinner, or if that's seeing your friends at run club or kind of going to the beach and just sitting at the beach for an hour, if that's your non-negotiable, just make sure you do it. It's so important.
Yeah. And I think also just based what you just said then, and something I just thought about was whether you're an introvert and extrovert, like know what you need. So like
Yeah.
for me, like it doesn't surprise you guys, like what it says on the training program, like do it to the second, to the T, like everything is exactly how it ticks. So if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go train together?" I'd be like, "Yeah, we can do my session, or we cannot train together." Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and don't talk to me like that. That's how I like to train. Like, don't fuck with my session.
Yeah.
So like going to run club for me would actually be like a really uncomfortable experience because I'd be like, this isn't what I need. This isn't my session. This is actually taking
Yeah.
away from what I need to do. But for you, it recharges you and it
Yeah.
revitalizes you, gets you more excited to do the other sessions.
Yeah.
So it's
And I make them work, like you might plan me an hour on a Wednesday. Run club is a 5K, 6 minute pace. It's set. That's the same thing every week. So I run before it. I'll do my run before it and then I'll do run club so I can fit run club in. That's my non-negotiable. Sunday this week, I've got Sydney Marathon Run Club. It's always, I don't know actually if it's longer this week, I can't remember, but usually it's about 12 kilometers because it's still a while away. And yeah, I will run what I can this weekend, but usually I'll either run before or we'll finish the run club and run afterwards. So for me, catching up with friends is definitely a non-negotiable, but that's just how I work. And as you said, your non-negotiable is making sure your calendar and you're doing everything as opposed to just winging it like I do.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, just like knowing what recharges you, knowing what makes you excited to train, knowing what
Yeah.
gives you that and I know we spoke about that last week, not using motivation, but what motivates you to train is it's
Yeah.
important to lean into that.
And to avoid burnout too, I think it's very
Mm.
easy to get into that trap of run, 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 or run, swim, bike, and doing what you need to do. And then you've kind of forgotten why you're doing it and remembering
Yeah.
your why. I think that's really important is to remember why you're doing it. If you're doing it because you want to get fit or you're doing it because it's really good for your mental health and remembering that and making friends and doing things that bring you joy in training so that you don't burn out. Because I
Mm.
burnt out last year and then I think I had to take like a month off after Sydney because I was
Yep.
wrecked. And I was like, I don't even like this anymore. Like, what am I doing with my life? Whereas now I love training again. So that's where I came up with that non-negotiable for run club was because all last year I didn't do run club and now I love it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's super common though with any endurance event because you have to train for it for so long. When you it's like what we spoke about when you get sick, like after the
Mm,
wedding. When you get through to the finish line, literally, your body just goes, okay, like I don't want anything to do with that for a while. Like I need to
yeah.
recharge, refresh. That's like for me, originally when I started Ironman, I was like, I'm just going to train all year round. Like that's what I want to do. Like I love the sport. I just want to swim, bike, and run as hard as I can, 365 days a year. But
Yeah.
I can't do that. So I've tried 150 days out. Which is too long. I've tried 80 days out, which for me is just like a little bit too short. That's kind of like that 10, 11 week sort of window.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, like 100 days training all the way through, come race day, like I'm done. Like once I finish that race, I know I need 2 weeks off to mentally recharge, refresh, and go again. So like
Yeah.
that's my sweet spot. But for different people, it's different things. Some people really like a 12-week prep. Some people like a 20-week prep. Like just
Yeah.
different things for different people.
It's funny how we kind of crave crave the training plan. Like for me, I love training for something because it gives me drive. I love the the set, having something to do every
The
Monday, Wednesday,
structure.
Friday, the structure. Yes, thank you. The all those different things. I love that. But then you get to the end and you're like, oh, I'm so over this. I hate it. Like, oh my God, another long run. Like,
Yeah,
seriously. But for me, I think you just need to give yourself that little break to then reset because straight after
it's
London,
important.
yeah, I've got to jump straight into training for Sydney Marathon. And this is obviously my big race of the year. I haven't given myself 100 days or anything, but it's, yeah, I'm definitely gonna, I've got my honeymoon to kind of get over the marathon and then I'll jump straight back into it.
Yeah, and that'll be a good refresh for you. Like you'll come back probably just wanting to run.
Oh, definitely. We'll try and fit some runs in while we're over there.
Yeah, but we're not going to do anything structured. It's just going to
No,
be
God, no. It'll be like, oh, we're on this island, we're in Santorini or whatever. Let's go for a run.
yeah, go for a
Beautiful
run. Yeah,
5K or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of all the stuff we've just chatted about. I really just wanted to, yeah, as I said, touch on recovery and preventing burnout and non-negotiables with training and
uh,
things that bring you joy. So
I think one more thing we can add to with
yeah.
burnout is I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to be perfect.
Hmm.
So, like I was just saying, like when you hear my routine and like how structured it is, um, it's it gets tighter and tighter the longer into prep it goes. So let's just say I told you guys like I'm in bed at 8, sleep by 8:30. The first week I'm probably not like I'm trying to get to bed at 8, maybe it's 8:20, maybe it's quarter past 8, maybe it's 8:30, but by week 3 that's really dialed in. And then I don't know, let's just say I'm tracking my calories. Like the first couple of weeks it's probably a little bit rough estimates, sort of how's the weight tracking. I'm not super dialed, but come week 4, 5, 6, like that is like it. You don't have to be perfect from day one. Like you
No.
build into it the same way you build your endurance, same way you build into your training. I build in with my routines and my structure. So like
Yeah.
bringing in sleep supplements, bringing in making sure my room is at 18 degrees before I go to sleep because it like all that stuff we don't do it perfect from day one. We build into it. Like, cool, I'm now in bed at 8 o'clock. I'm asleep by 8:30. How can I make that better? Let's cool down the room. Cool. How can we make that better again? Let's start having some triple magnesium from Pillar Performance. Cool. How can we make it better again? Like white noise, like all of those little things. So by the time you get to week 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever it is,
You're really dialed
it's
in.
it's dialed, but it's not perfect from day one.
No, gosh, no. Oh my gosh. It definitely takes practice, especially if you're doing your first race or you're training for something for the
Oh,
first
if you're
time.
doing your first race, do not do what I do.
You can probably do what I do. It's pretty,
Yeah,
I'm on marathon number
follow
4 and
Georgia.
I'm still not anymore. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I love all those things. I think it's finding what works for you and not stressing if it's not perfect, because it could take you 5 weeks to work out what works, right?
Exactly,
It's,
exactly.
yeah, it's taken me
Yeah.
3 years to get here. Oh gosh. Anyway, I thought we should jump into some questions because poor Matt we're getting very close to his bedtime, guys.
Guys, it's
So
outrageous. The things I do for you.
he's fading away. We have a question here from Carmen. What's the best way to come back after an injury?
Yeah. So I actually
Touchy
did this in the
subject.
deep. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Um, the big ones are take your time,
Yeah.
give the injury time to heal. It also depends on the severity of the injury. If it's something that's completely stopped you from running, definitely give it longer than you think it needs. Um, I would say you have multiple options in terms of how you come back. The most sensible one is very low intensity, very low volume. And then we spoke about this before, different levers you can pull. You only want to pull volume, right? With intensity, keep it as low as you possibly can. And that volume lever is just going up a little bit each time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be rushing back and doing 3-4 runs a week. It'd be one run, then 2 runs, and
Yeah.
then make those 2 runs a little bit longer, and then go to 3, and then make all 3 runs a little bit longer, and slowly build it up. And depending on, actually, probably not depending, it's probably pretty relevant for everyone. Once you sort of build back up to the volume you were at pre-injury, so let's just say you were running 20 kilometers a week. Once you build back up to 20 kilometers a week, all super, super low intensity, then you can start bringing in a little bit of intensity and testing things out.
Yeah. Like for me at the moment, just coming back off this injury at the moment. So I did a run on Sunday. It was really easy. Again, Monday, really easy. But then I've kind of worked out, okay, I need a few extra days, taking those few extra days, and then we'll ease back in. My long run on Sunday is an hour. I messaged Matt and I was like, can that be longer? And he's like, no, you need to ease back in. So that's
Yeah,
a good
I'm
example.
even when you messaged me, I sat there staring at my laptop for a good amount of time, debating whether that was too long, and then
Oh no.
and then Georgia just comes in and she's like, should this be longer? I'm like, you need to trust the plan, because
Trust the plan.
we're in a bit of no man's land at the moment. Like, I have a rough idea of, like, I haven't done this. I haven't got someone ready for a marathon in 5 weeks who's coming off Besitus and a cortisone injection and a possible hip stress fracture. So we are
No hip stress fracture. Let's rule that
no
one
hip stress
out.
fracture, but
Thank
we
God.
did,
There
but
was a possibility.
yeah, exactly. So I'm in a bit of no man's land in terms of coaching, in terms of programming. So I'm playing a very, very straight bat in terms of, like, we're sticking exactly to the book.
Yeah.
We're not taking any risks, because if something happens now, there's no running. You know
You're
what I mean?
like,
Like, if,
I'm
let's
out.
just say we change that to a 90-minute run, and at minute 75 you went, oh no, my hip. Like, that's it. Like, there's not enough time.
I know. This is
Everything's got to be perfect.
yeah, this is a great way for me to trust the process and also to kind of see my potential and go, you know what? Not much training, but I can do it.
Yeah, I think that's something the listeners might like. Is, I've said, ever since Georgia told me she got into the marathon, I've said, you're fit enough to do a marathon right now. Like, it's the conditioning that you don't have, and that the conditioning is what enables you to run at, like, those higher paces for the
Yeah.
longer distances. Um, Georgia messaged me yesterday saying, I'd still like to run like a 6 minute ish pace, and I was like,
No.
based on what? Like, we have no data to support that you can even do
Yeah.
that right now. Um,
I really
so
like what
it's
you said. It was really interesting. You were like, the big thing you need to be conscious of and not let your brain play tricks on you is you're fit enough now to run a marathon. You're just lacking a little bit of conditioning. Don't doubt yourself. And I was at the gym this morning with Nick and I said, I need you to read these messages because I feel like Nick's really good at making sure I listen to these sorts of things. So he'll keep me in check. And you were like, our only goal for London is to get you there pain-free. Enjoy the run and not be in pain afterwards. Given the limited amount of preparation time, we need to change the way we put the volume into your legs. And that really helped me because I just was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm
Yeah,
as you've said before, I'm kind of one of those people that's just like, I need all the facts. I'm very straightforward. I'm like, okay, yep, no worries. And now I'm good.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm fine now. I'm trusting it.
yeah, and like a lot of it too is like, I am sort of working on the fly, like, based on what you tell me. So if you finish that 1 hour run and you're like, I'm a bit stiff, I'm like, okay, like, we're gonna have to change some things to get the volume in your legs. Like, we might have to do a 40-minute run every single day, for example. Like,
Yeah.
like, we just got to work it out on the fly.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I think
so
that's a bit of like how to come off the for Carmen. We're both, we're both living that at the moment. So we're hopefully a good example of how you can kind of come off the back of your injury. Hope you're okay. But yeah, thank you. That's some really good advice, I think, Matt. We had one more question from Keisha. Yeah, Keisha. Sorry, I've written that right. What is your GOAT, your greatest of all time session for speed and interval?
yeah, so
Session you love.
I sent a real, she caught me at the right time. I sent a super in-depth message to her about this.
Lucky girl.
um, So there is no GOAT session. There is not one like, yeah, you can just do on repeat and you'd get better and better and better and better. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, running works based on, same as strength training, works on progressive overload, right? So strength and stimuli makes the muscle grow. That's like a
Yeah.
very simple mantra to help people understand. So what I told her was there is a GOAT structure, and as soon as I say this, Georgia, you're gonna know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So very, very simple. It's 10 by 100, 10 by 200, 10 by 300, 10 by 400, 10 by 500 into. So these are all separate workouts. These are not one continuous workout. Into 7 by 600, 6 by 800, 5 by 1K, and all descending rest. So you'd start at 2 minutes rest in between intervals, minute 45, minute 30, work
Yeah.
all the way down. If you do them running at 110 to 125% of threshold, you will get significantly quicker over that. What is it? I think it's about 10 weeks. So that's my GOAT structure. For anyone who wants to do speed work, it's a faultless system.
Yeah. So it's kind of the rough structure of that is like a warm up, then 10 quick
Yeah. So
distance-based runs.
2 kilometers sort of warm up, and then you'd be like, so 10 times 100, running at people. We have spoke about threshold before, but threshold would be like your sort of 10K pace.
Yeah.
Maybe for some of our slower runners, like a 5K pace. Probably the sort of pace you could hold for 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. Yeah. That's the 10
so
by.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So 10 by 100, and then you'd have a 2-minute rest in between each 100 where you can either walk or an easy jog. And then, a 1K cool down. And then that would just get longer and longer each time. So then 10 by 200, exact same structure, but 15 seconds less rest. 10 by 300, 15 seconds less rest, etc., etc.
Okay. Yeah, that's handy. I think that's a good structure for a session that anyone can kind of pick up on their own if they don't have a coach or a program. They can pick that up and implement that every week. And as you said, you just change the distance so that
Yep.
you are improving it over a longer distance. This is kind of like an
Yep.
endurance speed session, right? This is not like if you're trying to improve a 5K race pace.
I'd say this is actually most relevant for 5K.
Right. So
Because let's do the math. Georgia loves my math. So 10 by 1 is 1K, 10 by 2 is 2K, 10 by 3 is 3K, obviously.
but then you've got
so
the
then
rest in between. Do you not count that?
Yeah. No, you do. But like I'm saying, you're running that amount of that distance, so 1K at a pace, right? At your goal race pace, for example, or threshold, depending on. So you can also use this session as tempo. So people don't know that's like your marathon pace, half marathon pace. You just run a little bit slower. But after you go through, once you get to 10 by 500, you're running 5K with a very short amount of rest at threshold. And then you go to 7 by 600. Yes, that's 4,200 meters, but still pretty close. 6 by 800, 4,800 meters. 5 by 1K, 5K. So if you want to improve your 5K time, you follow that progression, you guaranteed will increase your 5K time. And then you can just extend it out. Like you could literally follow that structure to a marathon if you wanted to. It'd be boring as batshit, and like your progression would slow down because the stimulus doesn't change.
Yeah.
But it would, like, you would see results. That's why I think it's like the GOAT structure, because it just works. It's boring, which
No, but it works. That's the whole point. Yeah. My favorite sessions are always the ones where it's normally about a 2K warm up, as you said. And then we do some really quick, what do you call them right at the start? Strides, thank you. We do some strides. Love those because it means I can like gun it, and it's short, so it's fine. They're my favorite. And then it's like, as you said, it's like 10 by all of that. They're my favorite. I love those. I love ones that are really quick and fun, and whereas the marathon ones where they're a Sunday long run and they've got 5Ks at race pace or something, like, oh, just kill me now. I think you programmed Nick one for this weekend.
Yeah, Nick's gonna run a really, really fast Sydney marathon, like I can already
He is.
tell. So
He is. I know we were talking about
he
that the other day.
yeah, I think he'll break 3:30 pretty comfortably.
I think so
So
too.
I'm pushing him a little bit now and going to give him a break leading into London and
Yeah.
because I'm assuming, well, I know he's going to run with you for London,
Yeah.
so that's just a little bit of conditioning for him, and then you guys won't train over the honeymoon, and then come back and he'll be fresh and he'll get flogged for another, what is it, April, May, June, July, 4 months. So we'll probably have 12 to 15 weeks of really, really good train. Like, I'm really excited to see Nick run Sydney. I think he's gonna surprise even himself.
I think that every day he shows me his watch and the marathon prediction. He's like, you wouldn't believe what it says. And I'm like, he goes, but I don't think it's very accurate. I was like, I don't know. From experience, every time I've had a marathon prediction, it's been pretty spot on my Garmin. But yeah, I mean, he grew up doing athletics, so he's fast. He just isn't conditioned. So
Yeah,
it's been
which
really
we've changed
amazing.
now.
Yeah, you definitely have changed that now, and he's been working really hard, but it's been really interesting to watch his progression from someone who ran a half marathon and then only started running marathons because I did. It's been really cool to see him progress with you. So helps
Yeah,
to have a
it's
great
really
coach.
interesting. Thank you. But it's really interesting for me, like how far out I can start seeing the results. So like I can already predict now. Like I reckon if I had to put a time on, I reckon Nick will run like 3:26, and I think we can put a marker
No.
on this episode, and I reckon I'll be pretty close. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I was gonna say
and
about
I have a
3:28.
good
Yeah.
yeah, I have a yeah, well, we still got a good amount of training to put in his legs. Um, and like I've got a pretty good, we're not going to say yours publicly yet, but I've got a pretty good idea of where you're going to land. And I've been pretty close. I've been pretty accurate with all of them so far. So I go in pretty
Yeah.
confident.
Post honeymoon, I'm locked in. This I'm going to be doing my different, like all my strength stuff, doing more plyometrics. I really want to get really, as you do, dialed right in. Because I don't know what next year is going to hold for me running wise. So I really want to get this sub four,
Yeah,
obviously.
this is the big one.
This is it, and it's my redemption because I'm actually quite happy. I'm going to get the sub four in Sydney because I ran so, like I said, I ran so well last year, and it'll be nice to get it here in Sydney on
You
home
got
turf.
another
And
year of running in your legs, more conditioning, more experience.
yeah, yeah, I think the experience is a big one, and the
Yeah,
mindset is good. So
yeah,
yeah,
just like
excited.
it's exactly what we said before. It's like you're just constantly refining. Even if you don't realize you're doing it, you're subconsciously refining things. Like this didn't work last year. This worked really well last year. More of that,
Yeah,
less of that, and you just keep working on it.
yeah, and just yeah, I think this is the year that I really push myself and show myself that I think even in my interval sessions, I've been really surprising myself in some of them how, I can get down to about 4 minute 20 pace, which I never ever thought I could ever do. So, yeah, look, as I said, it all comes down to having a really great coach. So I'm very grateful.
You can
But
have the
yeah.
best program in the world if you don't do the work. It doesn't mean anything.
So true. But on that note, poor Matt is fading away. I can see his
Guys, I need to
eyes
go to bed. This is
slowly
outrageous.
closing. I've still got probably 3 hours of being awake.
Why? Well, what time? What
Uh,
time do you say you get up? You get up at 6.
I get up at 6, usually go to bed about
Yeah.
10.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So that's a
it's usually about 8 hours, seven and a half, 8. So
yeah.
works for us. But
That's all that
yes,
matters.
that's all that matters. Thank you so much for listening, guys. As always, follow us on Instagram, beyond the finish line _pod. We can drop some videos of this and last week's and kind of do some polls and things. But you can watch us on YouTube with all 3 of our subscribers.
I think we're at 5 now, 5 or 6.
Woo!
Yeah,
Episode
crushing it.
11.
Crushing
Crushing
it.
it. You go to bed, Matt. Have a wonderful sleep, and
Will do.
we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Hooroo.